In today's episode, we're going to go over Tomato Alley. All right, here in Tomato Alley, we have a total of 5 tomato plants and 1 pepper plant in the middle. We'll talk about that later. But here on the end is my beefsteak tomato, and we'll pop up on the screen a couple of the shots that we did notice. There's a few of them in here starting to develop. I was worried about the leaf curl, but after doing some research, I realized that this is something that just happens or develops with this type of tomato plant. I don't see anything else bad. I don't see any bugs. I don't see any burn spots developing on the leaves. So I'm taking it that this was maybe underwatering, because again, I was underwatering the whole garden for a while. So I think I'm back on target with the watering process and the feed in this area. Everything else in the garden this week got some feed, except the tomato plants. I chose not to feed them this week because I felt like from looking at them, they didn't need any more fertilizer. But we'll keep an eye on them over this week here, and then next week I'll probably feed them then. But so far they look good. We have tomatoes developing on every one of these tomato plants except the one pasta tomato, which is down here, and we'll go over each one of them as we go. Like I said, we started off with the beefsteaks. We'll pop a picture up on there. We talked about these leaf curl already. On the other ones, I have very little leaf curl as we come on down, but we do have tomatoes developing all over the place. I had to dig in there a little bit to see them, but you know, it's quite a few in there. That beefsteak one got some big ones starting to develop, especially underneath in the inside. But along the other ones here, these cherry tomatoes are now taking off. We see bunches of them starting to develop all over, and these last 2 plants here are the cherry tomatoes. This one here is that pasta tomato I just mentioned, and I didn't see any tomatoes develop on it. The flowers are there, but I didn't see the tomatoes developing yet. But I'm sure they're here in the next week or are coming. Okay, here we have romaine hearts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7 of them in here, and all of them are mature and ready to come out of here. So sometime today or tomorrow, I'll be sure to be cutting all of these down and giving them out to friends, because I definitely don't need that much. I have some more lettuce growing in here. We're going to take a look at those in just a second. But let's look at the cabbage while we're here, over here too. Here we have cabbage here, and here. All of them are doing well, kind of in there tight, especially this particular one here. It's getting a little, the area is a little overtaken by this romaine lettuce heart here, but I think once I cut this one out of here, it'll give this cabbage more space to open up and develop like it should. But so far so good, no complaints about those whatsoever. The leaves are growing great. I do have to do a little trimming of this particular one on the outside because it's starting to lay on the ground down there, so I definitely need to cut those couple pieces off. But other than that, no complaints whatsoever. Great development. Over here with the red cabbage though, all of them are still doing great. I have a little leaf damage starting to develop here and here, so I know there's a few bugs in here, but it's not overwhelming and it's not taking over the plant. So I won't do much here to change anything. But the cabbage itself, if you can look down in here, that ball is looking great, and each one of them has that. So in the next couple weeks, we should be harvesting the red cabbage. Red onions, 2 pots full of them, and again, doing great. Growing well. They were put in after the other onions that's here in the garden, but they are all developing and taking off. One thing I did notice on this particular onion is this growth that it has here on the top. I wasn't expecting this, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm sure some kind of flower should be opening up on this, but I have to do a little bit more research on that there. I was, again, like I said, was not expecting to see that, but now that I see it, I'll do a little bit more research and find out what exactly this is. But other than that, hell, she's doing great. They're both doing great. In my last section is my spinach, my honey bunch lettuce, and my beets. And they have been taking a beating here lately. And the spinach I have harvested a couple times now, so I've gotten plenty off of it, as so as the honey bunch lettuce. But weather's starting to change here, it's starting to get warm, so I believe that's what's causing this wilt to develop as fast as it is on these plants here. So today I will definitely be taking pretty much all of the lettuce and the spinach down. Now for the beets, I'm not sure how much longer I have to go on here, but I know part of the wilt that you see here up here on the leaf is because I was underwatering these plants. And once I corrected that, it corrected itself. They all stood back up and they're doing great. But you know, lesson learned. I didn't know first time I've ever grown beets, and next year we'll do even better. But let's see if we can look at a beet and see how they're developing. All right, let's see if we can get one of these and see what it looks like. All right, we have some development down here, and they're in their infancy, but the ball is definitely starting. So I know we are growing beets. So I guess these are probably about 3 weeks or so away, maybe a month, and we will have beets. But again, this is the first time I've grown them, so at least I know that I am actually growing something down here. So I pulled this one out. I won't pull no more out. I'll let all the other ones in there develop to their maturity. But this is a good sign that I am doing something right down there. And again, like I said, across the top here, all this wilt is because I was underwatering these plants. But I did correct that, and hopefully we'll make it to the rest of this harvest, and these beets will develop as much as they should. If not, next year I know what I did wrong, and I will definitely correct it. But so far, so good. Looks like we're going to have a nice harvest once these get to maturity. And that's all I have for you in this episode. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And you have a great day.